Good evening, James.
Good evening, Buck.
It's time for another episode of the Mega Power Hour. Well, welcome back, everybody. This is our brand new episode of the Mega Power Hour. As always, I am your co-host. It's me. It's the JATBB. And as always, I'm here with
Superstar James Starring, the guy that makes the ladies scream until they cream.
Yep, all kinds of creaming. Jamie just cracked open a beer. Last week you were drinking a guava beer, if I remember right. Guava infused. What do we got this week?
This week I pulled a sample out. It is a bourbon barrel aged stout called Dragon's Milk. It's one of my favorite beers of all time. It's
Dragon's Milk.
Yeah. Yep, and it makes sense because stouts that are aged in bourbon barrels are typically raise up the heat. So it's a high ABV, about 12%. So it's a man's beer.
Yeah, well, impressive. Let me crack open mine and let everyone know that it's not Dragon's Milk, but it's a good old Pabst Blue Ribbon. 16-ounce tall boy.
The working man's beer. Or if you have a mustache or a beard or wear flannel.
Hell yeah. And speaking of working, man, we're a couple days late from the weekend, but, Jamie works I try to explain this to normal people all the time, but no one can really grasp how much Jamie works in a week. And, I don't think people understand how much of a hard worker. How many businesses were started up this week?
Got one started up this week. We open tomorrow. So that, 3 days, there's a business. There's just not enough time in a day to do what I do. My days are typically about 30 hours to where the normal person or average millennial's day is 24 hours.
So you don't even really sleep?
No. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I know that's cliche, but that's just the way it is. I ain't got time to sleep.
Yep. Ain't got time to do shit.
Yeah. Some people don't have time to bleed. Well, I don't have time to sleep.
Yeah. Well, that's impressive. So I think everyone should just count on a new episode every Wednesday. I think that's going to be our goal. And we will try to entertain, as always, every Wednesday right here on the Mega Power Hour podcast. But it was a busy, busy weekend in the world of wrestling, Royal Rumble weekend. Okay, so we're going to start with NXT TakeOver, which was Saturday night. And honestly, in my opinion, one of the, so far, maybe the best show of the year, but definitely one of the best takeovers I've ever seen. All 5 matches were incredible. What were your first thoughts on the show?
I actually give this show an A+. Storytelling was great. The matches were great. And it might be the most stacked card I've seen on NXT. And I don't know if it's the most stacked card ever, but it's pretty beefy. It was phenomenal. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, it was insanely impressive from start to finish, and the crowd was hot. TakeOver is a perfect, and I don't know why the main roster hasn't copied this yet, but TakeOver, what they do perfectly is 5 matches every time, no matter what, and 2.5 to 3 hours, no matter what.
Yeah,
that's a perfect show. You don't want to watch a 7-hour show, which we'll get to later, but you don't want to watch a 7-hour show. You don't want to watch a bunch of matches where it's 5-on-5 because you want everyone on the show. There's stories. There's 5 stories that are going to be told every 3 months, and they climax every 3 months into these matches, and they're incredible every time.
Yeah, that's the old school view on telling a story. It's none of this instant gratification, repetitive bullshit. It's just the way they do it's perfect. It's like watching Saturday night main events in between the 5 pay-per-views, or 4 pay-per-views. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love how they do it, and we're just gonna real quick try to break down everything. But it started out with Undisputed Era versus the War Raiders for the tag titles. War Raiders get the tag titles in this match. It's a really hot opener. One of the best, probably the best tag match I've seen in WWE since Revival versus DIY. It was a perfect tag team match, and I thought it was going to be the best match on the card until a couple matches later, but it was a highly impressive match.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm a big fan of the War Raiders too. I love the old gimmicks. Obviously, all these people have Road Warriors gimmicks, but just two big, huge bludgeon guys just trying to beat the shit out of people, and they're stiff and they do power moves. But I'm a huge fan of that, so I'm happy for those guys. They put on a great match. Undisputed's had a great run too. Great wrestlers. Where do you see them going after this match, after this loss?
I think they'll continue a program with the War Raiders, to be honest, but I am such a huge mark right now for Undisputed Era. I think they're incredible, and I'm talking about all four of them together. They're good, really good friends in real life, and that comes off on screen. And I mean, I hate to make like comparisons like this because so many people do it all the time, but they really remind me of the Four Horsemen. If anyone is Four Horsemen, it's Undisputed Era. Like, they work so well together. They're a unit, all four of them, and all four of them can wrestle. All four of them can talk. I love Undisputed Era.
Yeah, they're really good. They're fun to watch. They're all 5-tool guys, right? Like they can pretty much do everything.
Yeah, they're all talented in every aspect of sports entertainment.
Do you see the main roster coming sooner than later in the future for those guys?
So I think that Triple H talked a while ago, I think it was a couple weeks ago on a conference call, about how NXT is still developmental, but it turned into its own brand now. So like getting to the main roster isn't really the focus. Like some guys are just going to be NXT guys. And I'm hoping that when he says something like that, he's talking about Undisputed Era. I think Adam Cole would do well on the main roster, but I don't think they would all shine on the main roster. Just the way that it's set up. I mean, they're not going to get the time that they need to do what they have to do.
Well, they would need New Day attention from Vince, right? And the writers, like they need to be involved in a segment. They need to be involved backstage. They need to be involved together in the ring.
Yeah, but that's just not going to happen in 2019.
Yeah, especially, I mean, if you're going to do a tag team and 2 singles pushes or however they're going to do it, I don't see WWE devoting the time for that. But that being said, about getting to the main roster, what do you think? Do you think guys that stay in NXT, I mean, they're not going to get paid as much as being on a pay-per-view card like WrestleMania or something?
No, you're not going to make as much money in NXT, but I think if you're someone who enjoys being creative and having incredible, have you already cracked open another beer?
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who's like into being creative and want to do that and want to have great matches, you can be in NXT and you're still technically WWE. And I don't think it's always great to be called to the main roster now because NXT is so hot.
It's hot, and when you pop up to the main roster, like you can get lost pretty quick in the shuffle. Even if you're a great wrestler and a great talent, people get lost. I mean, we could name tons of guys, but we don't have time for that. So.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see Undisputed Era stay for a while. I think they're going to try to beef up the tag division on the main roster. So I can see them moving some guys up, but I don't know. We'll see where they go. The next match was Matt Riddle versus Cassius Ohno. This was a brutal match. A lot of heavy hits. Ohno did a hilarious toe spot where he bit Riddle's toe.
Yeah.
Which it was I thought it was really creative. You don't see that a lot. I think Ohno is super talented and he'll do cool shit like that from time to time. But Matt Riddle is, in my opinion, and unlike anyone that WWE has right now, he's kind of I guess you could say like a male Ronda Rousey, where he has an MMA appeal to him, but he's obviously way more talented than Ronda Rousey. But I think he's awesome. He won by tap out from strikes, which was a cool finish that you don't see a lot. And it wasn't the best match, but it was a good enough match, and I'm a huge Matt Riddle fan.
Yeah, I mean, I can be on board with that match, with it not being. I mean, obviously, it's not a Meltzer 4-star or whatever match, but like the best part about that is they're telling a story. So Ohno he bites the foot because he's an MMA fighter and his foot's exposed, and you don't see wrestlers with their feet exposed anymore. So they're telling a story, and he needs to be stiff. He's an MMA fighter. Like, he's got that background, so he needs to be stiff. He's going to be technical, but it's going to be stiff. So, I mean, he he dropped Ono on his head. I thought Ono was dead,
Yeah,
or his neck and shoulder.
they did some brutal stuff. I mean, Riddle's mouth got busted open, and I mean they were hitting each other. It was a cool match.
Yeah, and I mean, for those of you who don't know Ono, he was Chris Hero for years. I think he can go toe to toe with anyone and make them look good because he's a bigger guy, but he's fast and agile, and I think he's good on the mic, and he's very talented all the way through. So I think putting him in the ring with Riddle was a good move. And I know they've been fighting, but you think Ono's ever going to win a takeover?
No, I think his spot in NXT right now is just to put guys over and work with these guys and make them look good. And I don't know if he's okay with that. It sounds like he's okay with that. And he's just not the guy that Vince is going to look at and like. And
No,
he's not a guy who, I mean, I love Chris Hero, but he's not a guy who I think would excel as like NXT champion even. He's in his role that he's in, and I think he's good at that role.
Yep, I agree. I think you hit the head of the nail right as usual. I mean, obviously, we do know more than Google, but I've never even seen you be wrong. But that's a whole nother podcast. Yeah, I really liked Chris Hero, and I mean, we saw him and met him, hung out with him, best friends. Basically, we saw him in Dallas, and he was having the best year of his career.
Yeah,
kind of revived his career too, and pole vaulted him into this NXT role. And he looks happy on TV. A lot of times, you can tell if wrestlers are happy or not by what they're doing. So I think it's a great role, and I think NXT really needs a guy like that. A lot of experience, something to work with the greener guys, somebody who can be tough and take the hard bumps, and even with a Mick Foley-like body,
No, I agree. He's awesome. Next match, Ricochet versus Johnny Gargano. This was probably match of the year 2019 so far. So many amazing spots. They told a decent enough story and still did the insane spots. They had a chain wrestling segment at the very beginning that was awesome. They had one spot I wrote down here where Ricochet picked him up for a powerbomb off the top rope, and then Gargano reversed that into a Frankensteiner off the top rope, and Ricochet flipped and landed on his feet.
Yeah.
So it was pretty freaking awesome. Ricochet took some hard spots on his neck a couple times. I was like, oh, man, he can't be doing that every night. But in my mind, it was an instant classic, and it was awesome, and Gargano finally won a big match.
Yeah, I'm a huge Gargano fan. I think he's a great talent. Ricochet's awesome. We've seen him live a handful of times. Saw him fight Sabre Jr. You think he's the best talent in NXT?
Yeah,
Ricochet?
I think Ricochet is a superstar, and he's somebody that Vince is going to love. He's extremely athletic. He's good on the mic, and he is a main roster guy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that Vince is going to love him. He's going to be over with the crowd. He's the type of guy that I don't know about his mic skills as much, but his in-ring work is going to awe the fans so much. He's just going to be over. He's always going to be over.
Yeah, he does all the cool flippy floppy shit, but he can also wrestle.
He can definitely wrestle.
And he's strong.
Yep. I think he can hold his own with anyone in the ring. Anyone in the world today, Ricochet can hold his own with. It's huge that he's in NXT.
Yeah, that was a 5-star, if you want to call it. That was a instant classic. That was a phenomenal match. And if you haven't watched it, and you don't have time to watch the whole takeover, that's the match you need to watch. That was for sure match of the weekend, in my opinion.
It was match of the weekend by far, and match of the year so far. I haven't seen a match that good in quite a while.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. Next match was Bianca Belair versus Shayna Baszler. Hard to follow. Gargano, Ricochet is a tough spot for them. I did know Sam Roberts on the pre-show talked about how Bianca Belair wasn't ready for this spot, and I know he was like doing a character like promo basically, talking about how Blair wasn't ready, and he was in character when he was saying all this. But that's all I could think of when I watched the match, that she just wasn't ready. Shayna Baszler's awesome. She's great. but Blair just doesn't do it for me. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of women's wrestling, anyways. Obviously, you've heard me ever talk about it, but I do think Baszler is really talented, and she brings a different aspect, like her like submission kind of real style to it, catch wrestling if you want to say, but I just wasn't into it because I don't think Blair should have been in that spot.
Yeah, it's hard, man. First, it is very hard. Where you're placed on the card is a big deal because even sometimes where you're placed on the card can bury you instantly without you even doing anything, no matter how good you perform.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I'm sure we'll talk
match,
about it, but I mean, it happened to AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, who are two of the most popular wrestlers in WWE. But
it definitely did.
Yeah,
and it's really hard to follow a match of that caliber. So do you think the booking of this match, and I agree what you say about the women's wrestling, I think both ladies are talented, but Bianca's not quite there. I can see her improving and getting better. I like the style, but do you think they booked this match on the card, as much as everybody's praising the women and all this new women's rumble and blah, 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 and, women can do this and that. They placed this match right after that. It's booked on the card here for a certain reason. You know why? It's because we all have to piss and drink beer. We need more beer after that Gargano match.
Well, yeah. Here's the problem. The only spot you can really put it in is after Ono and Riddle.
Yep.
If it would have followed the tag match, same thing, because the tag match was incredible.
But then it takes away from the title match.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not going to main event. But if you put it below, if you put it after Ono Riddle, then you have the women's match, and then you have Ricochet Gargano. Then it's going to take away from Ciampa Black, and you don't want to take it away from the main event. So they're really not. I mean, it sucks that they're in that position, but there's really no other way you could do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the blow off from the Ricochet match. Everybody takes a deep breath. They get back to their seat. They don't really lose as much excitement because we just went and bought a bunch of beers and hot dogs and pissed in the trough, and then we come back and we get a title match. So yeah, it just all this women's equality and everybody thinking it, that they should be this and that. It's just the way it is. I mean, I get it's 2019 and women want to be equal, but they want to be equal until it comes to when the Titanic's sinking and you have to hold on to the raft and they get to sit on the whole goddamn raft.
Yeah.
So
everyone's equal till you got to stand up to pee.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I mean, Shayna Baszler's great, but I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. Definitely the worst match on the card, but I think that was expected.
I'm not going to lie. During that match, I re-upped my beer, took a piss, and warmed up some leftovers and ate them.
Yeah, that's what you do during women's matches. That's the standard ops.
Yep.
So that brings us to the main event, Ciampa versus Black for the title. Ciampa won. I thought this match was really cool. It had a great storytelling. Aleister Black did a phenomenal job of selling to the point where I really, at one point, thought he hurt his leg, even though I know he's selling it so much that it's obviously a work. But he did such a great job on it that it had made me question it. It was great. I think it was Aleister Black's last match in NXT, to be honest. I think he's headed for the main roster, but I thought it was a fun match. Ciampa is awesome, in my opinion. His character, the dark side, he's in love with the belt. I love everything about Ciampa.
Yeah, I like everything about both those guys. I'm a huge Aleister Black fan. He's probably my favorite wrestler in NXT. I've liked him since he debuted. I think he's awesome.
Dude, so before he was in WWE, when he was Tommy End,
yeah,
just doing like PWG and stuff, I followed him on Snapchat and he followed me back.
That's incredible.
So we're basically best friends.
Yeah, best friends. Barbecues, pay-per-views, Super Bowls. That's when he shows up. So your kids will play together.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I just really like him. I love his character. I like him on the mic. I like everything about him. And I think he can excel on the main roster if they don't just bury him instantly. I think he can work a lot of good programs on that roster if they give him the time slot he needs.
Yeah, we'll see how he fits in the main roster, but I just don't.
Yeah.
I just don't see it working out for him. But I wish him all the best. He's awesome.
Well, the good news is WrestleMania might be 48 hours straight this year, so he's going to get a match. He's going to get a spot on the card.
I mean, he'll be in the Battle Royal at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Andre the Giant, start a feud.
Yeah.
Have him eliminate somebody, blah, blah, blah.
All right, there was a super long NXT review, but I mean, it was an incredible show. I thought we should break down every match. Let's go ahead and give it a grade, a letter grade. Jamie's mom is a teacher. Jamie was basically a teacher his whole life. He taught everyone everything. So we'll do a letter grade for the show overall.
I actually give this show, I gave it an A+ when we started, and I'm giving it an A+ again, even with the women's match. But I basically didn't even watch that, so it doesn't count.
Yeah.
So
I give it an A. I give it an A++. I think it was maybe the best takeover I've ever seen from beginning to end. So phenomenal show. Check it out if you haven't. There it is, our NXT takeover review. Okay, so now it's time to move on to the Royal Rumble on Sunday. We just did a phenomenal, amazing job breaking down all 5 NXT takeover matches in detail, expert analysis. We are not going to do that for the Royal Rumble.
No, because if we did, it would be the podcast would take a week.
Yeah.
Because Royal Rumble was, I don't even know how long Royal Rumble was.
It was close to 7 hours, like 6 hours and 40-something minutes.
I just know I could have opened 2 businesses in the time that Royal Rumble was on.
At least 2 businesses. It was the 3rd longest show of all time. There was only 2 shows ever in the history of wrestling that were longer than that.
And they're both WrestleMania the last 2 years, probably, right?
I think one was WrestleMania like 34, and one was another Royal Rumble. Well, but recent. Yeah, insane amount of time. Even if you have the best matches of all time, the whole show, it's hard to watch anything for 7 hours.
Yeah, it's who has time for 7 hours?
Yeah, so we don't have time to talk about everything. We're just going to break down a little bit of what we got to see. I didn't pay attention to a lot until the Women's Rumble. I didn't get a chance to see Ronda Sasha. I may go back and watch it because I actually heard it was a great match, but I know you really liked it.
Yeah, it was a good match, and I know that Ronda was excited to work with Sasha. Nice. What's that? Your 15th beer already?
Yeah, I'm about to go drive.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Ronda was excited to work with her, and Ronda hasn't exceptionally she hasn't been the best wrestler. She's getting better, I think, but working with Sasha's phenomenal. I thought they put on a good show. I enjoyed the match.
Yeah, I mean, Sasha is so good. I mean, I love Sasha Banks as a wrestler, and Ronda. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Ronda, but she gets a chance to practice her match for like a month, and then she goes to the pay-per-view and she puts on a good match because, I mean, that's how they're designing her. They're letting her go over it repeatedly for a month and then go out there and perform it, and she does great at that.
Yeah, and it's, they're putting her over. They're giving her a chance to succeed, and, they're very protective. It just shows you how smart WWE is with certain characters because they're very protective of her. They don't want her to look bad on TV.
Yeah, so other than that, we're not going to cover any of the show. We're not going to cover, any of the other matches, but we are going to talk about the last 4 matches. So the Women's Rumble, we both predicted that actually, one of my predictions is that the Women's Rumble would be a shit show. And one of Jamie's predictions was he'd take a shit during the Women's Rumble. So both of those came true, I'm guessing. I don't know if he took a shit, but
yeah, I dropped some mud during that Rumble.
All right, there you go. So both those predictions came true. It was a complete shit show. We also bet on the number of botches. I predicted 18. You predicted 21. I actually wasn't paying full attention the whole time, but I counted 16 botches, which I guess is low.
Yeah, it's low. I counted 28, so I underpredicted.
Yeah, I've heard 35. Matt Cole said 35. I've heard 110. I've heard 206. I've heard all numbers all over the place, but
yeah,
it was a shit show from the beginning.
And so let's break this down in Scott Steiner math. What do you think the percentage was of botches to actual moves. Like total moves to botches. Like I'm probably going to go, if I were to do Scott Steiner math, I'd probably say 33.33%.
Yeah. I would say it was 33.33% should never happen again. They just, I mean, there's a lot of great women wrestlers in the world, but there's not 30. And there's not 30 in WWE.
No.
Most of these girls, I mean, it's just the way it is. They're not taller than the top rope. It's hard to get over the top rope. It's just not logical. It's just not good to do. It makes it makes them worse making these girls do it.
Yeah. I don't know how many self-eliminations there were, but it was.
Oh my God, dude. It drives me crazy when girls like jump to the second rope and then let someone throw them out.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. Maybe we should do a women's rumble with just 2 ropes.
Yeah, maybe we should just do a women's rumble in a tub of Jello.
Like they did in 1997 in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
In pudding. And it was awesome.
No, it's just terrible. But I mean, I will say this: it was completely awful. But when Becky Lynch came out, she is by far the most over person in that company right now.
I think so, easily. I think it's Becky Lynch and AJ Styles.
Yeah, I mean, Becky lost her. I mean, she didn't lose her shit, but the crowd lost their shit when she came out. It was like I don't watch SmackDown every week, so I don't see it from week to week. But I was really surprised at the reaction for Becky. It was insane.
Yeah, she's very over right now. I love Becky Lynch. She does a great job. I'm super happy she played off the man gimmick. She's pulling that off really well, and it was a nice story and insult to Charlotte, taking the Flair family and running with it and pole vaulting it into a gimmick instead of just a storyline. I really like Becky Lynch a lot. I'm glad she's getting her time. I think she deserves it.
Yeah, I think she's really cool. But, I mean, how fucking stupid is it to call yourself the man? If you wanted to promote yourself as a strong, powerful woman, call yourself the woman.
It's hilarious. Yeah, the woman.
Yeah.
The
woman.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. It's funny. I like the gimmick, but it is dumb, that yeah,
I mean, to me, it sometimes comes off as a corny Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I mean, it's obviously working. I mean, people love her, and I think she's great. I think she's a good talent, so I'm happy for her.
Yeah, I'm happy for her. Everybody likes her. Kids, adults, everybody likes her. I'm happy.
For those of you who didn't see it, Lana was hurt. She got hurt on the pre-show, and she came out during her spot. Took 8 years limp into the ring, and then Nia Jax attacked her, hit her ankle some more, and Becky Lynch basically came out and begged Fit Finlay, which I guess Fit Finlay's in charge of Rumbles. I don't know why she asked Fit Finlay, but she begged him to go into the ring, and then eventually he was like, all right, do it, and she was just all of a sudden in the Rumble. So if you were doing a drawing, she didn't even have a number. I guess you give her Lana's number. I don't know, but she wins the Rumble, and she's headed to WrestleMania.
Yep. Speaking. How loud was that train?
Dude, I live next to the train, man. That's my life. I really don't even notice it anymore.
I loved it. I love that sound, though, like at night when you're sleeping, the train going by on the tracks.
Dude, I sleep through it now, which people think is crazy.
I don't think it's crazy. You should sleep through it like a man.
That's what a goddamn man does.
Yeah, Jesus God.
But speaking of man, what were you going to say about Becky Lynch?
I don't remember now.
Yeah,
who cares?
Who cares? It's the women's rumble.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Going on, I know you just mentioned a drawing. Should we talk about that now? Are we going over?
Yeah, let's do the men's rumble. So every year for I'd say the past 4 or 5 years, I've done a drawing where I get as many people as I can. We draw numbers out of a hat. Whatever number you get, whoever comes out at that number is your wrestler. If your wrestler wins, you win the whole pot. So it's just another way to make the Rumble fun to watch. This year, our buddy Ben won it, who, by the way, talking about Ben.
A guy who gambled away his family this past weekend.
Yeah, because by the way, he said that Kenny Omega would be in the Rumble. He made that bet. He bet his son's name that Kenny Omega would be in the Rumble. But Ben also today talks about how I wasn't athletic because I was making fun of his 3-year-old son because that's what I like to do. I think he's 3. I don't even know. But
yeah, who gives a shit how old it is?
Yeah, I don't care. But he was talking about how I'm not athletic. I don't think he understands how, number one, we had our own wrestling company. I was one of the top wrestlers in the business.
Yeah, and that not only that, the most athletic commissioner of all time.
Yeah, the most athletic commissioner. I had a 34-inch neck when I was younger.
Which Ben never has had a 34-inch neck.
No, God knows he probably can't even find a necktie that fits.
Yeah, everything is too big for him.
Yeah. He's got to wear bow ties.
Shoelaces around his neck look huge.
Yeah, I would hate for Ben to see me on a basketball court, on a tennis court, on a racquetball court.
Oh God, yeah, it's not racquetball. He wouldn't even stand a chance,
Yeah.
dude. You would hit him. It would be embarrassing.
Well,
honestly, I think he'd tear both ACLs.
Yeah, Ben does that CrossFit, so he would literally tear both ACLs.
Yeah,
because that's what he likes to do. He does that CrossFit. I lift weights like Arnold, Hogan.
Yeah, would you rather do a CrossFit like a pussy, or would you rather stack plates?
Yeah, he does CrossFit and tears ACLs. I stack plates and fuck pussy. Bottom line.
Yeah. So Ben has running shoes. Ooh, wow. Great.
Yeah. Anyways, we waste a lot of time, but Ben won. Congratulations, Ben.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Seth Rollins wins the men's Rumble.
Called it.
Yeah, we both called it. It was the most predictable. That's the thing. Like, I didn't think the Rumble was bad, but I also didn't think it was great. It just insanely. Every spot was insanely predictable. I mean, I know I'm really smart and I have a brain for the business, but I think even to anyone, it was insanely predictable every spot.
Yep. Every spot was predictable. We knew what was going to happen. My favorite highlight of the Rumble was Jeff Jarrett coming in and Elias, which
by the way, let me just mention that we drew numbers. Everyone got 2 numbers. Jamie's numbers were Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle.
The 2 guys that are hilarious and for sure not going to win.
Yeah, they were both out 2 minutes into the Rumble.
Yeah. I'm a huge Jarrett fan. I popped for Jarrett. So I was happy that they gave Elias number 1 spot. I'm a big Elias guy, so I walk with Elias. And I'm glad that Jarrett showed up. But other than that, it was just, whatever, dude. It was fine. I wasn't surprised at all at anything. The Nia Jax thing was horrible.
Oh, my God. You want to talk about me just being like, what the fuck is going on? Why was she – look, you have a women's Rumble now. Why was she in the men's Rumble? It didn't make sense.
I don't know. I think what are they going to do? Make her fight Randy Orton at SummerSlam?
I don't.
Or I mean at WrestleMania?
I think they're going to have her beat Dean Ambrose clean because he's leaving.
Yeah, or maybe I don't know. Maybe R-Truth will beat Dean Ambrose clean.
Yeah, well, R-Truth is beating everybody clean now. So.
Yeah, he's best wrestler in the world.
Yeah, he beats 5 people all night. But I don't understand what was going on. The whole time I was just like, is this really happening? She took 3 finishers and didn't even fall down.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know. I mean, they just made her into like God. I don't know. Maybe she asked Fit Finlay. I don't know. Maybe Fit Finlay just said, yeah, he doesn't care anymore.
Better have asked Fit Finlay. I know that.
Yeah, all you have to do now, I'll ask. I know Fit Finlay. I'll ask him tomorrow.
Yeah, so it was. I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. I would just give it
Yeah, it was whatever. It was your average run-of-the-mill Rumble.
Yeah. No
real big surprises outside of Jarrett, and that was that. So
yeah, it was what it was. A lot of NXT guys were in it. Aleister Black, who, like I said, I think he's on the main roster. He had a lot of good spots in it.
Yeah,
it just was what it was. But so the 2 championship matches, AJ Bryan, I thought was an okay match, but Becky had just won the Rumble and the crowd was really deflated, took away from the match. It was decent, but it's not anything we haven't seen before. And then Brock and Finn it went longer than I expected. Brock won as expected, but again, pretty good overall.
Yeah. I like the Brock Finn match, and I am a Brock fan. I do get a little bored with the character these days not being around. I mean, the title doesn't mean anything, blah blah blah. But I, he always comes up big in these matches. He always puts it on the line, especially with these smaller guys. They bring the best out of him, and that shows a lot about Finn Balor too. So it was a great match. I liked it. AJ Bryan, just like you said, it was just whatever. It was a SmackDown main event.
Yeah.
Blah,
By
blah,
the
blah,
way,
blah.
the finish was awful. I don't know what they're doing with, and I hope Harper doesn't join because Harper's super talented. Whatever they're doing with Rowan and this freaking vegan thing is going to be terrible. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't understand. Why are they doing vegan? I don't know. The Bludgeon Brothers were awesome.
Yeah.
They were
yeah.
awesome.
A month
They were
ago,
my
he was a
favorite
Bludgeon
tag team in
Brother, and now
wrestling.
he's a vegan warrior.
Yeah, now he's a vegan warrior. I mean, I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But as Matt Cole would say, let's see where it goes.
Yeah, positive Pat.
So, real quick before we wrap up Rumble, we each had 3 predictions. I want to go over those real quick. Jamie's 3 predictions. Finn will not win. Correct. Shelton Benjamin will be in the Royal Rumble. Correct.
Yeah.
Taking a shit during the Women's Rumble. No proof, but he says it was correct.
Yep, I did drop some mud during the Women's Rumble.
Boom. So Jamie was 3 for 3. Buck, Seth Rollins will win the Royal Rumble. Correct. Women's Rumble will be a complete shit show. Correct. Brock will have a good match against a smaller guy. Correct. So, as always, me and Jamie 100% right on all our predictions.
Yep, and you're welcome, Google.
Yep, boom. There it is. The best damn Royal Rumble review this side of whatever.
The moon. I don't know. Are we on the side of the moon? No.
We're on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah. Right now, yeah. Hey, everybody. Roadkill here. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Well, I have. I have about an hour roughly every day while my varmint stews in the kettle cooking up to do a podcast. So when I was trying to get the podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen to? How do I make money off my podcast? Well, I don't need any money. I live off the land. I grow my own food, but I guess, money's always good. So then I found the answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. I like the ad. It gives me the perfect amount of time I need. I can go to the my tanning shed, tan my hides. I can pick my carrots and peas and get them ready for the stew. I can make pelts. If you want to start a podcast and make money do it, go to anchor.fm/start. That is anchor.fm/start. Join me, Roadkill, and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. Again, that's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast when you're making your vermin stew. Sit down and cast away.
So what everyone just heard was actually our first ever sponsorship, first ever advertisement that the Mega Power Hour podcast has ever gotten. And we're just rolling in dough now. Last week, if we would have had that, we've been, I would have had so much money over this last week, but we're starting it this week and now we're going to be rolling in the dough. Yeah, that is, you did just hear our very first ever ad immediately after the show last week. After it went live, Buck and I got a couple phone calls. We got to choose what ad we wanted to do, and we chose this
the app that we use because they've been a big supporter of us. So Mega Power Hour 2.0, I told you last week, and if you didn't believe me, you can hang up your podcast right now, that we are twice as famous.
Yeah. If you didn't believe we were going places, you can get in the damn bed.
Yeah, and actually, probably time for half of you to get in bed anyways.
Yeah, so there
right now.
There you go. We are now doing advertisements. We're now twice as famous. We're now twice as rich. We have more money than anyone listening to this podcast.
Yeah, which is, I mean, you guys should be embarrassed at your bankroll.
Yeah,
compared to ours.
Yeah, and if you ever get in any trouble, give us a call so we can hang up the phone.
Yeah, and we can, buy your business and fire you and run it better than you.
Yep, buy your families and kick them out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, enough about how much money we have. We're going to talk about some news that broke over the weekend, over the last couple of days. First story, Ronda Rousey is likely done with WWE after WrestleMania. She's enjoyed her run, but it's her wish at this time to start a family and spend more time at home, on her farm with her husband, maybe have some kids. Likely she will leave at WrestleMania being her last full-time show, putting Becky Lynch over. She can still appear every once in a while in an Undertaker, John Cena type role. She's on good terms with the company. She still has a contract, but it doesn't look like she will be working full-time after WrestleMania. Likewise, Dean Ambrose also appears to be done after WrestleMania. First reported by Wade Keller, Ambrose was creatively frustrated for a while and turned down a new contract and said he will be done when this contract's over at WrestleMania. He does not want to negotiate. It's not about money. He's just creatively frustrated. WWE has confirmed that story by tweeting out that they are no longer going to be with Dean Ambrose after WrestleMania. April is, of course, a long way away. This can change, but what are your thoughts, Jamie?
Rousey, it's fine. I mean, I can't imagine what her and Matt Brown's baby's going to look like. What do you think, UFC fighter? Travis Brown.
Matt Brown, though, to be fair, is also a UFC fighter.
Yeah, he is. All the Browns. I don't know which fucking Brown it is. But I just can't. What do you think UFC fighter sex is like? What do you think they fucking...
Oh, God, it's got to be so athletic and gross.
Yeah, it's got to be, like, more athletic than Ben. But, yeah, I mean, she wants to have a family. That's fine. They have built her up in a way that they can use her to put over Becky Lynch and shoot her to the moon. And I think that's a good idea. If she goes out on her back, I respect that. And her popping up now and then to have, she's always going to be a top draw in the business. So did you just have an abortion? What was that noise?
I coughed and burped at the same time.
God, I didn't even know that. I've never even heard of that. It sounded like an abortion. I guess we
call it an abortion.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. But yeah, whatever. I mean, I can take Ronda or leave her. She's a top draw. She'll be around here and there. But good for her. If she has the time to start a family and do all that shit, I guess go do it. As far as Dean goes, I was a big Dean Ambrose fan when the Shield broke up. A lot of people compared him to Piper. I actually thought his in-ring psychology reminded me a lot of Terry Funk, the way he threw punches and the way he acted. And, like, you would hit Terry Funk and he would turn around and start boxing the air and wander around and be clueless. And he was great at theatrics, and I thought Dean Ambrose could do that. This lunatic fringe, I don't. His moveset, the stupid clothesline off the rope, the middle rope, that shit was fucking stupid. I don't know. I just don't think they ran with him the right way. And then he disappeared and he came back, like, he worked out a lot because he was training with you. So it's time for him to go. I mean, I think he would fit in well in Japan. I don't know where he'll go. I don't know if it's going to be an AEW thing. I don't know if he's going to take time off. I'm sure he has plenty of money. But I think Japan would eat him up if he brings that lunatic fringe kind of crazy gimmick over there. So,
yeah, as far as Rousey goes, she's always going to be a part of WWE, and she loves it, and she's a huge fan, and I think she's a big part of the Fox deal. So, especially when they premiere on Fox, she'll be around. But look, it's not our place. If someone wants to start a family, let them start a family. That's her choice. She wants to have a kid, let her go have a kid. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but it is what it is. I'm not the biggest fan of Ronda Rousey. I don't like someone who's practices her matches 8,000 times and then goes out there and does everything step by step. Her promos are terrible, in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan, but she's obviously good for WWE, so it is what it is,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So let her do her thing. As far as Dean Ambrose goes, if anyone gets it, I get it. I mean, I'm not, if you know me, you know I'm not a huge fan of WWE right now. I hate the scripted promos. I hate the non-creativity, everything that Dean Ambrose hates. So I understand it. He wants to go. I think he left in the right way where he can come back. He didn't ask for a release. He just waited until his contract was up, and he just was like, "Hey, look, it is what it is. I don't want to renew." So, good for him. He's going to have options. He can go anywhere he wants. He can take time off if he wants. He can do whatever he wants. I know he's really good friends with Chris Jericho. He's supposedly good friends with Cody. So if he wants to go to AEW, obviously they're going to have him, and he can do whatever he wants there. He can be as creative as he wants there. So, it's up in the air. But I will just say this about Ambrose that a lot of people aren't talking about right now. April is a long way away. We've seen it before. Bret Hart was going to go to WCW, changed his mind, signed a long-term deal with WWE, changed his mind again. You saw how that worked out, the screw job. In a 3-month period, Vince can change his mind. Vince can make an offer. Ambrose can change his mind. Ambrose can accept an offer. We don't know where it's going to go, but as of right now, I wish Ambrose the best in whatever he does. He's super talented.
He's great. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that he started off doing death matches and crazy shit, and no one even knows.
CZW. We don't know.
Yeah, he could. Maybe him and maybe Luke Harper will go back there. I don't know. Wherever he goes, I hope Luke Harper goes too. Because if they make Luke Harper's the most talented big man in the WWF, I guess. And if they make him into a vegan, I'll murder somebody.
All right, so there you go. We wish them both the best. Okay, so next story we want to talk about the government shutdown, which I think most of you are familiar with, has caused New Japan Pro Wrestling to not get work visas for their Japanese talent, changing the cards for their 3 New Beginning shows in the United States. Any Japanese wrestlers will not be featured on the show. Big misses will be Goto, who's supposed to face Jeff Cobb, and Ishii and Nagata were supposed to have a match. All 3 of those guys were not able to appear. They had to change the card around. It's basically a glorified Ring of Honor card now. Charlotte's still going to get Juice Robinson U.S. title match against Trent Beretta. Speaking of Trent Beretta, he apparently backed out of a verbal agreement that he had with New Japan to sign for a year, and is looked to be headed to AEW with his best friend Chucky T. New Japan not happy about this at all. A verbal agreement means a lot to New Japan, so the fact that he backed out of the deal was taken very bad. Your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, it sucks that the government shutdown is impeding wrestling, because I just don't. I usually just don't even pay attention to that because it's mostly lunacy, and now it's fucking up the shit that I actually like.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I work for the government, and I wasn't getting paid during the shutdown, and this was the worst thing about the shutdown to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's way worse because wrestling fans, that getting to see some of these guys, Ishii and some of these guys, that it's a once in a lifetime chance. They're not over here wrestling all the time. And for them to come to where they were going, that good wrestling territories, good wrestling fans, generational fans. It's a shame that it got in the way, and it's almost embarrassing. It's just embarrassing.
Yeah, without getting too political, I mean, everything involved with the shutdown is terrible and ridiculous and unnecessary and retarded, if you can use that word in 2019.
You can. I actually went back to saying retard because I called someone a special needs person a while back, and somebody screamed at me for saying special needs. That I don't even know what you call retarded people anymore. Do you call them special needs? You can't call them handicapped. So you're not even allowed to call him anything. I guess you just gotta say that human being.
Okay, well, it's very that human being of the government to do this.
Yeah, it is very that human being.
But it's the whole thing's ridiculous. But the fact that it's affecting wrestling, we have friends who are going to the Charlotte show. It sucks because you're expecting to see these guys and you don't get to see them. It's a real bummer that all this, but hopefully it all get worked out for future shows. Hopefully it doesn't affect the U.S. market too bad with New Japan. But Trent Beretta thing, I understand where Beretta's coming from. I think he looks at AEW as a bit, they're getting they're huge right now already. So it's a great opportunity. And maybe at the time that he verbally agreed to New Japan, that wasn't an option and things change. And I think when you're dealing with stuff in the United States, a verbal agreement isn't always, something you have to stick by. So, in Japanese culture, Jamie, you're an expert of Japanese culture, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I speak the language, studied it. There's a lot of honor in your word, and honor. It is Japanese culture. So when maybe he just doesn't understand that, or I don't know, but when you make a verbal agreement or a promise to them, that is a signed contract. It's as important as a signed contract. It's your word is all you have. You need to live honorably. So I don't know if New Japan might be upset. I hope it doesn't sour a little bit of the relationship with AEW or anything like that if they do go there. But I mean, he's basically probably going to have to seppuku to regain his honor in Japan. He's a Ronin right now. He's a rogue samurai away from his master. I just don't. I respect Japanese honor and culture, and he probably should have handled that better.
Well,
especially
I know
when they
you've
booked
dealt
6 months in advance.
in your businesses. You've dealt with a lot of Japanese culture, so not to go back on a verbal agreement.
Yeah, not to go back. A handshake a handshake, a promise. It's the same thing as a contract. I actually don't even really do contracts because I'm so honorable.
You just work off handshakes?
Yeah, I work off handshakes, and I've had to let people go because of it,
Yeah.
And it is the way it is.
Look, I've met Trent Beretta multiple times. We're basically friends. He's a super cool dude. I don't think he had evil intentions in this or bad intentions in this. He's just changed his mind, and I mean that's fair. But it's also fair for New Japan to get upset about it. So,
it is. It's just the train's pulling in both directions. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Hopefully, he can regain his honor.
Yeah, and Gato, had big plans for him, and he's a booker for New Japan, and he books a year ahead. That's what they say. So it sucks for him, and it sucks for New Japan. But Trent Beretta at the end of the day has to do what's best for him. So it's one of those things. I've said it 100 times a night. I feel like, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. And if he has to seppuku to regain his honor, fall upon his own sword, and die honorable, then he'll do it.
Yeah, if you got to set a coup, you got to set a coup. Okay, so next news story. WWE has some new agents. For those of you who aren't as smart as me and Jamie, agents are producers or workers in the back who help guys with their matches, help with creative, help in all those aspects. This week it was reported that Abyss and Sanjay Dutt have left Impact Wrestling. They were both huge parts of Impact Wrestling to become agents for WWE. They're friends with Jeremy Borash, who's been working with NXT for a while. Also, Jeff Jarrett and Shane Helms have been hired as agents. So Abyss and Sanjay Dutt were also writers for Impact Wrestling. So those roles are going to need to be filled, and they will be filled by Tommy Dreamer and Conan, who will be new writers for Impact. Jamie, yeah, it's hilarious. So your thoughts on how this affects WWE with the new agents and how this affects Impact with the new writing staff?
Tommy Dreamer has a great mind. We'll talk about Impact first. Tommy Dreamer has a great mind. I respect him. If he's writing, I'll pay attention. Nice. I'll at least pay attention to what Tommy Dreamer does. Conan has known as a piece of shit in the wrestling world. So I assume he no call no shows, and then he owes people money, and then doesn't show up again, and then he fades away. But
Yeah.
I
All I
respect
see
Dream.
Conan is doing is saying that everyone should come out and say that they're serious like a late period.
Arriba Lasse or whatever. I don't know, fucking whatever. Conan fucking Max Moondog. I don't know what the fuck he is, but who cares about Conan? And as far as the way it affects WWE, first of all, it was a bummer. I knew the news. I knew they signed Abyss. I really would have liked to seen him do a spot in the Rumble. I just thought it would have been cool. I would have popped hard. I've been a big Abyss fan. I've always liked him in TNA. He had some great things with Sting. He had some great matches. I wish I could have seen an Abyss Taker. Apparently, he turned down a couple WWE contracts in the 2000s, but
yeah,
he knows his
I'm
shit.
not familiar with WWE.
Yeah, it's the stuttering version of WWE.
Oh,
okay. I almost did it again right there. I like Abyss. I'm glad Jarrett's in there. Helms. These guys, they're wrestling guys. They can book matches. Abyss can write well. I think it's going to benefit the younger talent. Jarrett, people either love or hate Jarrett. I'm a Jarrett mark. He knows a lot about the business. He knows a lot about all his gimmicks have always been over. Love him or hate him, he's always been over in the ring. He's a good technical wrestler. I think it's a good move for NXT.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially Sanjay Dutt, like if you don't know Sanjay Dutt, he was a wrestler, but he also did a lot of stuff backstage for Impact. He was a writer. He was a producer. He helped talent. He helped time the shows. He knows his stuff when it comes to the business. He's worked with Jeff Jarrett forever. He's incredibly talented in the wrestling business. So I think he's a big hire. Abyss, also a very smart guy. Jeff Jarrett, obviously, been in the wrestling business his whole life, very knowledgeable. Shane Helms, Hurricane, some people say he's great. I don't know who says that, but that's what they say. He'll be fine. I think it's great. I think WWE is putting, in my opinion, these are Triple H's people, and Triple H is putting the right people in the right places, in my opinion. He always has. So great hires. As far as Impact goes, Tommy Dreamer's great. He'll be fine. Jimmy Jacobs is kind of the head writer of Impact. I think he'll be fine. Conan is Conan. Like I said, obviously me and Jamie's opinion of Conan is not great. But, it is what it is. Impact is, I think we talked about Impact last week, but, they can only go so far. So,
yeah, they're hitting their head on the ceiling, and it's only a matter of time. I hope WWE buys them just because I get their library, and there's a lot of great matches those first 4 or 5 years. Plus, it's the end of Savage's career. Savage is there. Scott Steiner does some hilarious shit in Impact. Impact's incredible. The first 4 or 5 years was incredible. It was a lot of terrible wrestling from NWO guys, too.
Yeah, and a lot of the important guys from those first 4 or 5 years are working for WWE now. So,
yep.
It's a great hire. If you're interested in backstage stuff, that's kind of a cool story. So there you go. So just real quick, to finish up 2 stories we're going to lump together, just call this a rapid fire news segment real quick. Kenta today, or maybe yesterday, asked for his release from WWE, and it was granted to him. Don't know the specifics of it, but probably, of course, the 90-day no-compete clause, and then he's more than likely headed to Japan to work for Pro Wrestling Noah. All that is up in the air, but Kenta is done with WWE. What was his name? Hideo Itami? I haven't seen him wrestle so long, I don't even know.
Yeah, it was Hideo Itami. He had a tough draw. He got injured. He got a push to the main roster. They tried to push him. He got injured again. I just think he served his purpose, and that was the only reason he was there in the first place was WWE launching the network in Japan, trying to get relations and bringing talent over. So that, I'm pretty sure that was about it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him wrestling forever either. He hasn't been around. He's just been hurt, and
Yeah, he's been
I
on
don't know.
205 Live for a while, but I don't watch 205 Live, so what's the saying? It is what it is. It is what it is. Kenta, he was super popular when he was in Pro Wrestling Noah, so I think when he goes back to Japan, he'll be fine, and it's probably best for both parties.
It is best for both parties. He can do what he wants there. He can do his hard style stuff, and he started off with a bang. It was nice to see him in NXT. He had some good injuries just piled up, and it just didn't mesh. Some guys just aren't TV guys either. I don't know if he's a TV guy. As much as we shit on WWE, it's doing TV is hard. When you're doing TV every week, like a lot of these, no one else does TV every week. So live TV. So I just don't think he's a TV guy.
Yeah, wrestling and being in WWE is two different things completely.
Yeah.
So, I wish him the best. Also, this week, AEW has a new signing. All Elite Wrestling has signed Jake Perry, a.k.a. Jungle Boy. He is the son of 90210 star Luke Perry. He's the newest signing. He's not huge on the indie scene yet, but he has just made a couple appearances on PWG shows. He kind of has a little cult following. It's hilarious that he's Luke Perry's son and he's signed AEW. Jamie, your thoughts?
Well, Luke Perry, good friend of mine, great actor.
Yeah.
Lane Frost in 8 Seconds.
Yeah.
8 Seconds is a phenomenal movie. If you haven't watched it, you're an idiot. It's a movie about the story of Lane Frost. Do what?
Ben watched 8 Seconds and fell asleep.
Oh, wow. Way to go, Ben. Story of his life, sleeping through success.
Yeah.
He also was in a show called Jericho, which was a post-apocalyptic. I liked it. He was in the show with, I think, what's his ass from Family Matters, or I don't know, one of those TV shows back in the day.
Yeah, he did a show with Urkel.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Urkel. It was
no, he did. Well, first of all, he did Beverly Hills 90210, which was incredible. I'm not afraid to say it. That show was amazing.
I mean, a lot of drama, a lot of scandals, a lot of crazy stuff. I'm more of a Dawson's Creek guy, but that's another podcast.
Yeah, we should do a Dawson's Creek podcast. But no, I'm definitely more of a Beverly Hills 90210 guy. But yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, what's his kid's name? Superboy, Shark Boy,
Jungle Boy. He has super long ass hair. Wears like a little loincloth.
Yeah, I've seen him. I hope the best for him. Like I said, I know Luke pretty well, so I wish his son the best.
And I think AEW has had some huge signings. Chris Jericho, the Young Bucks, obviously Cody, all these great guys. They need to round out talent. There's got to be new guys. There's got to be new talent that is going to blossom. Younger guys, fresh guys. Maybe guys who can lose a couple matches. So,
well, and Jungle Boy's a perfect first hour Nitro guy. That's exactly what I call it.
Yeah. So, and also the buzz with the Luke Perry connection and the Hollywood connection. That's also good for business. So, okay, so there you go. That's it. Actually, a pretty big news weekend. We were able to get through everything in a timely manner. We're professionals, obviously. And that's it. So, Roadkill update real quick. A lot of people talked about Roadkill in our first episode. People want to know what he's up to. You are obviously closer to him than I am. So where's the Roadkill update?
I'm glad you asked that. I didn't even think we were going to talk about him, but he did reach out again. He's going to be in town in Denver, Saturday, February 23rd. There's a little promotion show that happens here in Denver. It's called Lucha Libre Laughs, and it's professional wrestling and stand-up comedy. It's absolutely hysterical. It's rated R, but it's good wrestling too. It is announced live over a microphone. They make fun of the wrestlers sometimes, but also the wrestlers are very good. It's ran by a guy who came from WWF long time ago, and Vince Russo actually used to write for this promotion, which is why it's probably theater in Denver where 40 people show up. But Roadkill said he's going to be there. I'm going to meet up with him. We're going to talk about what's going on. Joey Ryan's going to be there. He's coming through town. So I'm excited to see Joey again. I will probably make sure his shirts are still 100% cotton for Sauce. So Joe Nathan Suited can keep buying his gear. He's happy right now. Roadkill's real happy. He's best shape of his life. He's been in the ring. Said he's been hitting the ropes pretty hard. He's ready to get some work in, and I think he's showing up to obviously sign autographs. I'm sure the line will be around the block. I couldn't imagine. I won't bother him until after the show. We'll do.
No, you don't want that.
I'd say we'll hit the clubs, probably go to Dandy Dan's and La Boheme, and we'll probably be out till 6, 7, 8 in the morning. But that'll be later. And I can fill you in on. He's got some big plans. He said he's got some things to talk about. He wants to come on the show.
Yeah, we want to have him on the show as soon as possible for sure. He's a big draw.
Yeah, he says he has a huge announcement to make, and he wants to make it on our podcast. So we couldn't be more blessed.
Yeah, that's huge, and that's why we have the sponsorships that we do, I guess. But yeah, that's awesome. Joey Ryan's on the show. Any show with Joey Ryan or any SCU, any of these guys, I think if you're around or close, something you want to attend, I think the Young Bucks and Cody are going to be making appearances at these shows and kind of keeping their names out there, doing little spots, and it's going to be a good time. It's going to be fun. So any indie show like that, if you live in Atlanta, there's a show on February 1st, come hell or high water, that I'm pretty sure they're all going to be at. So you definitely want to attend that. Andy Ball can't, but that's neither here nor there.
What a loser.
Yeah, he sucks. But yeah, so keep listening. We appreciate all the love from the first week. People are glad that we're back.
Twice as famous. I mean,
yeah,
we were just asked to, we're going to podcast live from Double or Nothing, right?
Yeah. We forgot to mention that. So we talked to Conrad this week. We're going to book our tickets to Vegas. We're probably going to be at Starcast. So, if you're going to be in Vegas, let us know. Jamie's going to be there. Roadkill may be there. But if Roadkill's there, we're going to definitely be hitting the best strip clubs.
Oh, yeah, he knows. Strip clubs and diners. That's about it,
Strip clubs and diners.
Yeah, that's Roadkill and a handful right there. That's what we're going to do. I'm excited for what's happening as well. I mean, we could have some other guests coming on soon. Lots going on. We're both busy and making time for this too, so it's important. We're going to be so successful. It's amazing. I mean, that's probably going to be the number one podcast in the world. So,
yeah, it's pretty crazy how successful we are after just 1 week. So we already have we got a sponsor. We're making moves, man. We're in different countries. I've been talking to some Japanese people, and shit's been crazy this week. So, we appreciate all the support. Please follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Help us put the word out. Eventually, James is going to make a Facebook page. It'll probably be years from now, but one day we'll see it.
I'm actually on it. What are you doing right now?
Why?
Because it made all this sounds like you were crumpling up paper.
I don't know. But, yeah, so we're on YouTube. We're on Apple. We're on Google. We're on Spotify. We're everywhere. So help us spread the word. Help us get some listens. It only puts money in our pockets. Obviously, we don't need more money, but we'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, we might use it to buy you beers at shows because we can afford to do that and you can't. We might have a big announcement, maybe a merchandise announcement coming soon. Just tune in to listen for that.
Yeah, so with that, episode 2 in the books. Thanks for listening. Help spread the word. We'll see you next week.
See you later.